Here's what's making news at midday. Lake Delton police investigate a death in Wisconsin Dells after a woman is found dead Friday night. We'll have the latest on the investigation. And the death toll in Texas rises to 89 after catastrophic flash flooding. The latest on the desperate rescue mission. Hello, everybody. Hope you had a great holiday weekend. Josh will be back tomorrow. Lisa Briggs from the Bruce Company will be here in just a little while. So get ready to send your plant and garden questions in for later in the show. But first, let's get a check on the weather. Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington is here, and we finally broke this heat and humidity. It's beautiful outside today.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. Finally nice to have a good hair day in my case. Low humidity out there. Temperatures in the upper 70s right now at the lunch hour. Can't be beat. This time of year, of course, we've been experiencing those 80s and low 90s and the high humidity. We got 77 in Madison, 75 in Janesville, 71 in Camp Douglas here in Dane County. Lots of 77s. How about 77 in Cross Plains, McFarland, Oregon, Verona, Wanakee? It's a common one out there. We'll stay in the upper 70s to the lower 80s as we plan your day today. Again, relative humidity pretty low, and then those clouds will start to be on the increase because a line of thunderstorms will approach the area later tonight. Coming up in Maine weather, we're going to track that line through southern Wisconsin. We'll let you know when it will end and when the next chance of rain will be. And how about that concerts on the square forecast? I've got that too.
All right, very good. Thanks a lot, Alex. First at noon, police say they have made an arrest in a murder investigation in Lake Delton. 23-year-old Brandon Bent is in police custody this noon following the charge of first-degree intentional homicide. Over the weekend, officers were called to Canyon Road, just north of the Kilbourne Dam, where they found a woman dead inside a home. The victim's name is being held at this time, and charges have been referred to the Sauk County District Attorney's Office. Police are also investigating after a man died on Delavan Lake over the holiday weekend. The police department and fire department responded to a possible drowning on South Shore Drive. When they arrived, they found a 57-year-old man from LaGrange, Illinois, unresponsive on a boat. Crews attempted life-saving measures, but he was pronounced dead at the scene. Investigators say they do not suspect foul play. Also on Delavan Lake, authorities recovered the body of a man from Texas after he went missing in the water Saturday afternoon. Police and firefighters responded just before 2:30 to a report of a man in the water near the View Crest area. A search and recovery mission began immediately with help from dive and sonar teams from Walworth County and the DNR. Crews later recovered the body of a 26-year-old man. Police say no foul play is suspected, but the investigation is ongoing. As the day goes on today, we're expecting to hear another update from officials in Texas about the catastrophic flash flooding over the weekend. According to the National Weather Service, extreme rainfall caused the Guadalupe River to swell more than 20 feet in less than an hour early Friday. Nidia Cavazos has more from Austin, Texas on the victims and the search and rescue operations.
There was so much screaming.
This morning, harrowing stories are emerging from survivors of the deadly flash flooding in central Texas over the weekend. Kerrville RV park owner Lorena Guillen said she watched helplessly as rushing waters washed through the campground.
There were dozens of vehicles just floating away.
Officials say there have been more than 160 rescues by helicopter, and search and rescue teams and hundreds of volunteers are combing the banks of the Guadalupe River.
It would bring me some closure knowing definitively what happened instead of continuously holding out, wondering if the one I love is still out there.
Texas officials say more than 80 people have died, and among the more than 40 missing are nearly a dozen children and counselor from the all-girls Camp Mystic. Texas Governor Greg Abbott toured the devastated campground.
It was nothing short of horrific to see what those young children went through, and we will remain 100% dedicated, searching for every single one of the children.
As the community holds out hope, questions are growing over the lack of early warnings.
There's going to be a full review, of this so we can make sure that we focus on future preparedness.
Yesterday, President Donald Trump pushed back on claims that cuts to the National Weather Service may have impacted the situation.
They did not. They did. This is a 100-year catastrophe, and it's just so horrible to watch.
The president has approved a major disaster declaration, and he says he plans to visit Texas this week. Nidia Cavazos, CBS News.
And President Trump said he will likely try to visit the area on Friday this week. When we come back, the president is set to issue a new warning to U.S. trading partners that new tariffs could kick in next month. That's when News 3 Now at noon continues. We'll be right back.
You're watching News 3 Now at noon. Moving forward.
President Donald Trump says U.S. tariff letters for trade deals with countries around the world will be delivered today. He made the announcement on social media overnight. It comes as the president's pause on his so-called reciprocal tariffs is set to expire this week, with the tariffs expected to kick in on August 1st. Yesterday, multiple countries at the BRICS summit, which includes Brazil, Russia, and China, condemned the increase in U.S. tariffs and the recent attack on Iran. President Trump threatened on social media, quote, any country aligning themselves with the anti-American policies of BRICS will be charged an additional 10% tariff. There will be no exceptions to this policy. It was a big holiday weekend opening for Jurassic World Rebirth, topping the box office with more than $91 million domestically and $318 million around the globe. F1 the movie keeps zooming along at second, earning $26 million in North America. How to Train Your Dragon also flew to the top three with $11 million at the domestic box office. And Zaxby's is introducing its first dry rub in lemon pepper flavor. Customers can get the new rub on the chain's chicken fingers, wings, and chicken sandwiches. Zax Rewards members were given early access to the new lemon pepper dry rub through the company's app. That's your CBS News Money Watch report. For more, log on to cbsmoneywatch.com. At the CBS Broadcast Center, I'm Carissa Lawson.
Thank you, Carissa. Stocks are off to a slow start on this Monday after the holiday. The Dow is down 535 points this hour. The Nasdaq is off nearly 200, and the S&P 500 has lost about 60. Still ahead for us this afternoon. If you have any questions about your plants or gardens, now's the time to send them in. You can send us an email to tips@channel3000.com. Lisa Briggs from the Bruce Company is here, and we'll be answering your questions in just a little while here on News 3 Now at noon. Pam Yankee will join us after this. We'll have the ag numbers on this Monday afternoon, and Howard is cooking with pistachios today in our Mr. Food segment.
When it comes to making dinner, it needs to be fast, budget-friendly, and easy. Today, we've got a recipe that fits all those requirements.
It's time for the Midwest Farm Report. Let's check in with Farm Babe Pam Yankee. Hi, Pam. Did you have a good 4th?
I did. It was hot, it was sticky, but it was still great to get together, and that's all we lean into is,
Happy Monday.
Good time.
Back to reality.
Thank you. That's for sure. And like you said, stock market is one of those sad realities we're taking a look at on the midday. Commodities are following in suit. Double digits down. You'll see that in just a moment. So we're trying to dissect the benefits that Wisconsin farmers can look forward to through the big, beautiful bill that was signed over the weekend. This is pretty comprehensive. So what we're hearing from Tyler Wenzloff, who is the National Affairs Coordinator for the Wisconsin Farm Bureau Federation, is this is almost like a farm bill. In the bill are price changes, reference price changes, improvement to dairy managed coverage, livestock disaster assistance, conservation dollars, and trade development. He says this is the first time that a bill like this has incorporated so much agriculture policy. What he's wondering now is, will we ever be able to get another farm bill, a standalone farm bill, taken care of? We have to wait and see on that, but there were some positive items there. Speaking of positive items, I want you to know that right now we've got tickets available for the Wisconsin Farm Farm to Table dinner. That's going to be coming up August 22nd. The hosts this year are up in Fox Lake at Trifecta Farms. There's only about 100 seats that are available for that event. Just want to remind you that since they went on sale already, wifarmtotable.com is where you can locate yours. Remember, this is a 5-course meal, white linen tablecloth out on the farm, where you get a chance to visit with the chef on how they're incorporating literally all kinds of Wisconsin commodities into the meal, plus beverage pairings. So it is an elegant and worthwhile night on the farm. All right, now let's get to those numbers as far as the markets are concerned. The bad news yet to come. So again, what we're kind of being mindful about these lower commodity prices on the midday is we are getting a crop progress report this afternoon, kind of giving us an indication of how things are going. I'm getting reports from southern Illinois. Their wheat harvest is already underway and not looking too bad. That's the deal. Nobody's got too much in the way of bad weather, outside of the flooding in Texas. Everybody recording that they've got about the rain that they need, about the heat that they need. And that we'll see if it's impacting Wisconsin growers. That latest crop progress report comes out this afternoon at about 4 o'clock Eastern time. So I'll have that for you tomorrow. That's dairy-wise today. Not a lot of good news there either. Barrel cheese down a penny at $1.71. 40-pound block cheese is unchanged. And the double-A butter, a glimmer of hope, up a penny and a half at $2.62 a pound. So, yeah, everybody's getting back to the Monday groove. Unfortunately, the groove in the marketplace is digging a hole, not climbing a mountain,
Well, we'll end on a positive note. Glimmer of hope is good.
Glimmer of hope.
Have a good day, Pam. We'll see you tomorrow.
See you, Lynn.
Speaking of hope, we'll get an update on the weather now with Alex, and it almost, dare I say, feels a little refreshing out there today.
Yes, it does. Last night I was doing the evening shows, and I said, you might want to take the opportunity to crank the window open and let it in some of that fresh air last night because, well, it is July. It's not going to stick around forever. But let's start off with the 3 things you need to know tonight. A couple thunderstorms later on, so you probably want to shut the windows tonight because those storms will arrive, and we'll track that with Future Track in just a moment. Scattered storms on Tuesday, especially early Wednesday and Thursday. Those are important days with concerts on the square, mainly dry, and I have that concerts on the square forecast all teed up for you. Here we go. Let's fast forward. 2 a.m., a couple showers and thunderstorms entering areas out towards La Crosse, Viroqua down to Boscobel and Prairie du Chien. They sweep across southern Wisconsin right around 6 o'clock. Savannah will be here tomorrow morning tracking those showers and storms. Not expecting severe weather, but don't be surprised to have some rumbles of thunder to wake up to and a little bit of lightning. And as we continue to move forward through the rest of Tuesday, that chance of redevelopment is not terribly high, but we can't rule out another shower thunderstorm developing in the afternoon. But I think the main story for Tuesday is going to be those storms in the morning. Current temperatures out there right now, we're not talking dew points here in the 70s that are tropical. We're talking air temperatures in the 70s, mid to upper 70s out there right now. Skies are clearing out after a little bit of morning fog. Common number, 77 in Dane County right now, 76 in Middleton. Let's play on your afternoon. Really picture perfect for July, as I was mentioning yesterday. I'll mention it again today. This is about as good as it gets for July weather. High temperatures today up around 82. Then you see the clouds increase right around 8 o'clock. And let's fast forward to Tuesday there. After those showers and thunderstorms in the morning, skies will turn partly sunny. We can't rule out the chance of that thunderstorm again in the afternoon, but it's mainly morning storms and temperatures again in the upper 70s to the lower 80s. Here's your first concerts on the square forecast for this week. Not the first concert, this will be the third. And this one actually is an easy one to forecast for. It's looking generally dry, just a small chance of a shower. Not too humid, I want to call that out because just a couple weeks ago, remember Susan, you and I were out there doing that first concert on the square, and boy, was it humid. Next chance of thunderstorms comes in Friday, going into Friday night with a cold front. It looks like a good chance of thunderstorms. We might have a stronger storm or two with that cold front as we go Friday into Friday night. Then we'll dry out over the weekend, and then we start to see, look at Wednesday going out into the following week. You probably think, well, that's pretty far out there, Alex. But we are seeing hints that we are going to start to move towards a warmer weather pattern for much of the country. See warm, warm, and warm. And with that, we may see our temperatures creep back up closer to 90, and those humidity levels are going to inch back up as well. Chances for rain as we go a little bit further out into the future, looking like we're going to be at or maybe slightly below normal in the precipitation department. And speaking of precipitation, I like to throw a viewer photo in there. Thanks, John, from Verona. This is out over Epic. A beautiful rainbow. How about that for a Monday? A pretty rainbow picture.
That's really nice. Thank you for sending that in, John. All right, we'll take advantage of it today with the heat on its way back. All right, thanks, Alex.
You're welcome.
Up next, Howard is making a cool dessert for summer's hot days in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
As we're about to enter the dog days of summer, it's time to start thinking about ways to keep our cool, no matter how hot it gets outside. One sure way to do that is with a cool and refreshing no-bake dessert. For the lightest can be filling, we combine a container of whipped topping with a couple of boxes of pistachio pudding that we made according to the package instructions. We add a handful of chopped pistachios, and after this is mixed, we set it aside. Then we line a baking dish with graham crackers and top them with about a third of our pistachio mixture. We'll repeat layering this 2 more times until all the graham crackers and the filling is used up. Now we frost the top of this with whipped topping and garnish it with a few chopped pistachio nuts before putting it into the fridge to set up. Look at this, a cool and refreshing dessert that we made without turning on our oven or breaking a sweat. And when you dig your fork through layer after layer, you'll be smiling from ear to ear. To get the recipe for our 8-layer pistachio squares, all you have to do is visit our website. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a no-bake, no-stress way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
Thank you, Howard. There's still time to email a question in for Lisa Briggs from the Bruce Company. There's her legs. She's here. Send your questions to tips@channel3000.com. We'll get there we go. Let's see all of Lisa. We'll get your answers when we come back. Lisa Briggs from the Bruce Company is here. We're taking your questions at tips@channel3000.com. Hi, Lisa.
Hello.
Let's quickly talk about what you brought today.
Yeah, so we got a new shipment from Florida, and a couple months ago, people might remember that I brought in a fern called Hurricane.
Right.
And this is a Dracaena called Tornado.
Oh, I can see
Since
it.
we were talking about weather, it's got a really swirly quality, and they just came in. Never have had them before. So.
All right, I have to buy one of those for Alex.
Yeah, they're super cool.
All right, let's get to the questions, and we'll start with Patty. She says she has an unruly rose plant, and it needs to be trimmed. So what is a good point to trim her rose bush back?
So if it is a rose bush that had a ton of flowers, like one of the old-fashioned types, you can go ahead and prune it back about half. You may get some sporadic reblossoming. Otherwise, there's some roses that just bloom once a year.
Okay, is there a rose plant that's not a rose bush?
Roses usually fall into either a bush or they're a climber.
Okay.
And the climbers have really long leggies so that you can tie them up to things. But most rose bushes to get into the range of maybe 1 to 2 feet high, up to 4 to 6.
Okay. All right, I hope that helps today. Patty also asks, when is a good time to not only cut irises back, but also to transplant them?
Transplanting you should do really at the end of July. And when you dig them up, you can cut those fans back to about 6 inches. And then look at your rhizomes for any soft or mushy, that means you've got some borers in there. Cut that stuff off and then let those cut surfaces dry a little bit, few days, and then replant them. Just remember that iris need to be really at the surface of the soil. So you want to be able to see the top of those rhizomes, even with mulching. Otherwise, the fans will come up, but you won't get flowers.
Okay, I love irises.
I do too.
Judah asks, how often should we use bloom boosters on petunias?
At this time of year, if you've got petunias and they were fertilized in the greenhouse, you really need to, if you're using something water soluble, you want to do that probably every couple of weeks now. Most of the fertilizer that they came in with has depleted. Petunias do take a special fertilizer, so if just the regular bloom booster isn't working, come on into the store. We have a special formulation for petunias that will keep them bushier.
Okay, very quickly, last question. Betty says her hibiscus only has 2 new growths this year, and it's usually much bigger.
If she's talking about the hardy hibiscus, it's hard to say. I will say that oftentimes we don't see hibiscus moving until mid to late June. We had some ups and downs this spring. Yeah. I would give it some time.
Okay. All right. Thanks for your questions, everybody. Sorry we didn't get to everybody, but I always email them to Lisa, and then Lisa will respond to you personally. Good to see you, Lisa.
Good to see you, too.
All right. Let's head over to the Weather Center and get a last check on this nice forecast today.
Yes, all good things for today. And then we've got some rain chances, some areas down towards the Wisconsin-Illinois border still dealing with drought. So anytime I got rain in the forecast, that's probably good news. Those thunderstorms will not be till late tonight, more likely day as we head towards about the 4 to 6 a.m. time frame on Tuesday. So scattered storms to start off the day Wednesday and Thursday. Looking dry. Concerts on the squares Wednesday night, and I think we're going to get that in with A-OK with no problems. Here's that line of thunderstorms Tuesday morning at 6 o'clock, and we got a gorgeous day today with temperatures in the upper 70s to right around 80s. Susan?
Enjoy it, everybody. Good stuff. Thank you, Alex. Thanks for watching News 3 Now at noon today. Coming up next is The Bold and the Beautiful, and then we'll see you later this afternoon, hopefully for Live at 4. You can catch us streaming 24/7 on Channel 3000+. Have a good day.